Scrappy friends, Jen here with a layout for Scrapshots. This is the June Scrapshots challenge, and we do a challenge every month. Sometimes we might combine 2 months, like in the summer, just because, life gets busy and you maybe need a little bit of extra time to get scrappy when you've got your kids home from school and that kind of thing. But pretty much every month we do a challenge in the Scrapshots paper crafting group, and you are welcome to jump in, take a look at the challenge, post your projects following the challenge. It's lots of fun. Another place to get some inspiration. There are some absolutely amazing card makers in that group. So if you are a card maker and you're looking for inspiration, I definitely recommend hopping in there. But the challenge for June is basic shapes, and I just happened to create a sketch for the month of June. This whole year, actually, all of my sketches are kind of centering around a basic shape. So I've done circles and triangles and kind of like a rainbow, general like rainbow shape, and I've done flowers. So I'm kind of having fun with shapes and changing up some of the colors and things like that. So it actually worked out really well, and I decided to go ahead and use my June sketch kind of as my inspiration to create your inspiration. So this is the layout that I'm creating from that sketch. I posted the sketch at the beginning, and I will post down below links to my Instagram if you want to go and check out and get a better look at the sketch there. I always post a sketch every month, and I post some journaling and photo prompts. You can use it kind of interchangeably. If you want to do a photo a day, you could use the prompts for a photo a day, or if you're just kind of trying to figure out some general inspiration for what to create that day and you need some sort of idea or prompt, you can always hop onto my Instagram and take a look and see what the day is and what the word is, and maybe that can help kind of give you a jumping off point for your creativity, however you want to use that. But I always post those at the beginning of every month. So that link will be down there, and the Scrapshots Facebook group link, and all the information you need to know, Scrapshots store and everything will all be in the description box. I am also using a collection. This is an older collection from a couple of years ago now that I got at Scrapshots as well. Just this really beautiful summery pink fresh collection. And I'm doing some summery photos, so kind of just getting into the spirit of summer approaching for us here in Canada. And I thought this was just kind of fun and bright and happy. Now, I rarely print square pictures anymore. I used to do it a lot more often, but I don't seem to be doing it anymore. But I generally try to, when I'm taking photos, give myself some space. So it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you're being spontaneous. You click a photo and you're not really thinking about how you might use it afterwards in a layout. But I tend to try to give myself extra space. So I think we're inclined quite often to zoom in on photos, and I try my best to zoom out and frame my subject, whatever it is in the picture, with some space around them, because I know that I would like to say that I've just sort of, become a little more carefree and relaxed with my editing and photo printing. But the truth is, I'm just really busy, like a lot of us are. And I don't want to spend hours and hours editing photos like we used to do. I want to get them put onto my little sheets. You can see here where I usually have them printed at 4x3s or 2x3s. I want to get them edited into those sizes and printed as soon as possible with not that much fuss anymore. So I know if I give myself some space, I can always edit that however I need to, or if I need to cut them into other shapes, I have a little bit of wiggle room to do that. So I found the photos that I wanted to use, and I had two 4x3s, and then I had those little 2x3s, and then I was able to cut them down into the square size. I also, as I was going through the papers, I tried to look for squares if I could find them. And one of the reasons I grabbed for this collection is I did already have my summer stuff coming out. I had already pulled out my summer like kit that I like to put together, my travel stuff, my camping stuff, my summer vacation stuff, and just like general summer stuff. And I knew that I had the like the title sheet from the packaging, the one that kind of gives you a little glimpse or sample of all of the patterns that are in the collection. I knew that it was all squares, and I thought I can probably use those as either embellishments or layers or whatever I was going to do. And so I grabbed for this knowing that there were already some squares kind of in the back of my mind associated with this. And then I looked to see if there were other squares within the patterns. So I found that it is sort of like a greenish blue, not like a teal, but like an aqua color paper that had a square pattern on it, kind of a double square, because it's got, excuse me, the grid, but then it also has the kind of diamond shapes too. And then I just looked for other patterns that kind of gave me a square feeling. So you can see that one that I'm putting tape on right now kind of has that grid feel to it. It has some circles inside each of the squares, but there's still a square shape. So I was just kind of thinking about that, not too hard, because I don't always want to limit myself or become overly picky or fussy by searching for something, and then it kind of becomes more of a chore than a pleasure. But in the back of my mind, I had that as I was going through, that if there were squares on any of the patterns, I would pull those out and kind of use those so that I could just really drive home the square imagery and that basic shape. So I've gone ahead and found all of those patterns. I cut out my page. I did go and get some yellow cardstock that I just had in my stash because I like to have that solid background, because I could see from going through the collection that I was pulling out a lot of different patterns. So it's kind of nice to have a break for your eye when you are using lots of patterns, if you can have some solid colors that kind of give your eye a little bit of a break. That way, as it's taking everything in, it can kind of pause in those solid moments. And also those solid pieces really help to kind of make certain things stand out. So in this case, I backed all of the photos with the solid yellow as well, so that they didn't get lost in the patterns. And then I cut out my little squares. So the two that were 4x3s, I didn't add extra layers to those ones because I just let them fill in as much of the space as possible. But I added a few extra little layers to the three that were smaller, just to kind of fill up that space. And then here, this is actually the piece of paper that I was thinking of. That's like the front page, the front cover. They put all of their patterns into little squares instead of like little strips or anything like that. And it kind of made me think maybe I would be able to use these squares. And then I could see that there were other squares, some gingham and things in the patterns. And so I thought, this is going to work out great. I'm kind of doing the summery thing, but I have the squares going on, and it all just worked out, which was nice. And I got this at Scrapshots, which is always great when you're creating a challenge for Scrapshots. So I went ahead and kind of created my squares for my photos, and then now I'm going to do the embellishments. And I really wanted for this particular layout, well, kind of for all of my layouts, I love to have layers, and I love to be able to add lots of fun little bits and pieces in, but I also really appreciate the simplicity of just sometimes being able to sit down, throw a few little bits and pieces together and have a really nice layout that you can be really proud of without all of the extra fuss, because sometimes that's just what we need, is just really simple and basic. And so I try when I'm creating my sketches to really give you the ability to look at my sketch and interpret it in the most literal or loose way that you want to be able to do it. And so I wanted to kind of stick to something that was literal but also really simple. So I didn't go pulling out extra pieces. I didn't want to start, incorporating chipboard and stickers and wood veneer and all those kinds of things. I really just wanted to use the paper and the beautiful colors and the patterns that you see here. I'm getting my stash used up, which is really nice. If you're like me, you tend to keep all of those front covers anyways, because they always come in handy as extra embellishments. And so I really just wanted to use what was right there in front of me and create a really fun and pretty and you know layout that I can be really proud of. So that's what I did. I kept it kind of simple. I do like to add a little bit of splatter. I think that that's a fun way to kind of break up all of the square feeling or any repeating pattern. If you have something that's very linear and clean and it's repeating and you just feel like it's missing something, it's missing a little bit of personality, or it's missing that little element of movement, splatters are a great way to kind of create a bit of chaos that just stirs things up a bit. It just slightly breaks up straight lines and stuff like that without making it feel like you haphazardly threw everything together. Because when you're using straight lines, I think it's nice to have things lined up and kind of have things not quite measured. You can definitely go ahead and measure. I don't tend to do that, but I did, as you saw, I used a piece of paper to kind of make sure I was straight with things, and I pay a little bit more attention to things kind of lining up because all of my lines are straight. And so those splatters kind of give you a little bit of a surprise or a little bit of an element that is just not controlled. And so that can be kind of nice just to break up a lot of straight lines. So I tend to throw those kinds of things into my sketches as well, just so that you can have some fun and interpret things however you want. But I like sometimes just the opportunity to have a very simple layout. I didn't pull out any stickers. I pulled out the acetate. I have these elements from the collection. Like I had a whole bunch of the pieces of the collection, some stickers and stuff. I really only add that one piece of acetate. Everything else is just paper, a little bit of splatter, and then some sequins. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. We have so much dandelion fluff all over right now, and my allergies have just been going bonkers. I've been so low energy. That's why I haven't been posting very often, because yeah, my allergies are nuts right now. But yeah, I just finish it off with some beautiful sequins. Those are Spiegel Mom Scrap sequins. And that's it. That's my layout. It came together pretty much as fast as you just watched me do it right now, but it was a lot of fun to kind of put together and play with some of these shapes. Well, the same shape, the square, and all the patterns and stuff. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, happy scrapping. Bye.